Yes. So I have started recording the program, madam, because usually I do that program thing. So we are good to go. Actually, if you tell, Alka madam, if you tell, we'll start the program.
Sir, I'm just waiting for this boy to come on the screen. Rest is all ready. Dharya, please hurry up, tell us.
Yes, Mama. I'm just having some technical issues. I'm trying to resolve them. It'll take 2 minutes.
Dear,
And that was
Beta, if you're unable to
put the background,
put on the screen, then just switch off your system and restart it, because at times it happens on Zoom that the video doesn't work. The audio works, but the video doesn't work. So just restart it. It's just the video.
Yeah, I'll just
let the plain background be there if you're not able to put it. Get ready with the content, please.
Can we start, madam?
I think we should. I'll tell Dharya to just stay there because he has gone out of screen also.
Okay.
So Bhavya, please see the content. You are going to do the content. Bhavya, are you ready?
Yeah. So before we start, this is Dr. Ramesh Vishwanathan. I'm the what you call convener of Spikmake's Great Masters. I'm based out of Pondicherry, and today we are going to be doing the Great Master series on a luminary and a legendary Santur Vidwan, Pandit Bhajan Sopori ji, and we will be having the interaction session with Pandit Abhay Sopori ji, his son and disciple of Pandit ji. So that's all I have to say. And so this is a first year's tribute to Bhajan ji. So over to the schools, madam. Now you can take over. I'm going to mute.
Good afternoon to all the dignitaries and luminaries present here for another edition of Spikmake's Great Masters series. Today's edition is being organized on the auspicious occasion of Navratri and Durga Puja. We congratulate and wish everyone to have a blessed day. The program is also co-hosted by Shalom Hills International School, Gurugram, which is a unit of the Shalom Group of Schools. The renowned group of schools is run under the stewardship of Dr. Mrs. Lily George, founder and chairperson. She is a dynamic leader and an epitome of integrity, morality, and righteousness. She has successfully created a niche for her in the field of education, community development, and social work. We thank her for providing the opportunity to be a part of today's program, which talks about the great master Pandit Bhajan Sopori ji, the maestro santoor player. We express our gratitude to Pandit Abhay Sopori ji, his son and his disciple, for his kind consent to take us through the journey of Pandit Bhajan Sopori ji.
Pandit Sopori was born in Ambho Nath Sopori on 22nd June 1948. Sopori hailed from Sopur in the Barmulla district of the Kashmir Valley and traced his lineage to ancient Santur experts. He belonged to the Sufiana Gharana of Indian classical music. His family has played Santur for over 6 generations. His first public performance was at a conference organized by Prayag Samit Samiti and the University of Allahabad when he was just 10 years old.
Pandit Sopori gave his first public performance in 1953 at the age of 5. He learned Western classical music from Washington University and Hindustani from his grandfather S.C. Sopori and father Shambhunath. Pandit Sopori has taught music at Washington University in US. His performances have been broadcast in India and seen by both cultural associations there and by audiences in countries such as Belgium, Egypt, England, Germany, Norway, Syria, and the USA. Pandit Sopori stated that he worked with the All India Radio in 1990 when he was transferred to Delhi and that no music was produced from the valley. There was not even a tabla player to accompany him when he returned.
Pandit Supuri Ji, considered as the cultural link between Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of India, also ran a music academy called Sama-Pa, Supuri Academy for Music and Performing Arts, which is actively involved in promoting Indian classical music. Samapa is involved in promoting music with jail inmates with the objective of using music for healing the prisoners and creating an emotional and bond between the society and the prisoners. The academy has trained several musicians and revived old instruments. It was presented the State Government Dogri Award in 2011. Pandit Bhajan Supuri ji in 2015 announced the Samapa Awards for contribution to the field of music.
Pandit Sopori was awarded the Sangeet Natak Academy Award in 1992 and the Padma Shri in 2004. In 2009, he was honored with the Baba Alauddin Khan Award. He was also awarded the M.N. Mathur Award in 2011 for his contribution to Indian classical music and Jammu and Kashmir State Lifetime Achievement Award. Pandit Sopori was married and has two sons. His son, Abhay Rustom Sopori, is also a santoor player who is present here with us on this program.
I think the children from uh, the other school should start introducing Abhayji. Hello? Sunita ji and Das ji, are the children ready? Hello?
Hello,
Yeah, are the children ready, madam?
sir. You had given only question answer session to my students.
Okay, Das ji, are you ready with the Surender ji? Are the children ready with the introduction of Abhay Sopori ji? Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll myself introduce Pandit ji. So
Sir, give me a minute. Give me a
Okay.
minute.
okay, okay. One second, Pandit ji. Hello, Tripathi ji, Sitosh Tripathi ji, and Dibyanshu. Yeah, are you going to introduce Abhay Sopuri ji?
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Yeah, Divyanshu
Yes.
Acharya, are you going to introduce Pandit Abhay Sopuri ji?
Okay, sir.
Please, you have the script. Please introduce. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Yes, sir.
Divyanshu. Go ahead. Start.
Pandit Abhay Rustom Sopori ji was born on 7th June 1979. He is an Indian santoor player, music composer, and conductor. He is the son of santoor player Pandit Bhajan Sopori ji, known for his versatility, innovations, and experimentation. Sopori ji has received awards in recognition of his contribution in the field of music, and is one of the youngest recipients of awards such as Bharat Shiromani Award and Ustad Bismillah Khan Yuva Puraskar. Abhay Sopori ji was invited to speak at the international conference. Abhay Rustom Sopori ji was born on 7 June 1979 in the city of Srinagar, situated in the Kashmir Valley of Jammu and Kashmir, India, into a Kashmir Pandit family. His parents were musician Bhajan Sopori ji and Aparna Sopori ji, a professor of English literature. He learned Santoor under the traditional Guru Shishya parampara of his mystic Saivite Sufi tradition from his grandfather Sambhu Nath Sapori ji, hailed as the father of classical music in Jammu and Kashmir, and his father Bhajan Sapori ji. Abhay Sapori ji represents the Sufiana Gharana of Kashmir, coming from a family of traditional Santoor players spanning over 9 generations, spread over more than 300 years. Sapori ji has a bachelor's and master's degree in music from Prachin Kala Kendra, Chandigarh, India, and holds bachelor's in commerce from Delhi University and computers from Indira Gandhi National Open University. Sapori ji was trained in Indian classical music from his childhood as well as Western and Sufiana music. Apart from Santoor, he also learned vocals, Indian classical sitar, Sufiana sitar, and piano. He recorded his first song at the age of 3 for a musical feature for All India Radio, composed by his father and was also part of his father's grand choral presentation featuring over 8,000 voices in Srinagar, Kashmir in 1985. He presented his first choral presentation featuring over 100 singers in October 2005 in Kashmir, organized by Sopori Academy of Music and Performing Arts, SAMAPA. Abhayji's J&K folk music ensembles Soj O Saj have also been presented at various other festivals and conferences, which include the Jammu and Kashmir Festival, presented at the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts in New Delhi in the year 2009, and Ganesh Kala Krida Rangmanch in Pune in the year 2010, which left the audiences captivated and mesmerized. Abhayji's classical fusions have also received rave views. In the year 2000, Abhayji started his musical work in Kashmir, performing for the youth across the valley, promoting Indian classical music and culture, and is credited with changing the entire cultural scenario of Jammu and Kashmir, bringing the youth together through music. His concerts in border areas of J&K have been attended by over 20,000 people. Abhay Rustam Sopori ji conducting along with Jubin Mehta in Kashmir 2013. Since his debut as a classical santoor player in mid-1990s, Abhayji has performed in prestigious festivals across India and around the world in countries like the United States, Russia, Brazil, Mauritius, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, Germany, France, Italy, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Hungary, Sweden, Switzerland, Spain, Slovenia, Ukraine, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Morocco, Iran, Israel, Bahrain, and Dubai, etc.
So, so
उसने वीडियो डाल दिया
okay. So Abhayji, I think now Abhayji, we oh, Abhayji,
very high. Look what happened. तो एक जना
Abhay,
जूता लेकर मार रहा है उसको दूसरे को
Abhay,
तो निका
Teacher, ma'am, please mute yourself.
Hello, Abhayji. Abhayji, you can start your interactive session. I think there's some this thing. Abhayji, please go start.
So the students would be asking something?
No, you start your interaction session, then they will start ask the questions. Close to your completion of your talk. First, we want to hear about you, your father. So then we will have the questions. So students are ready with the questions, Abhayji.
Okay.
Go, please start.
So, well, my namaskar to everyone, all my elders here and the lovely little students here. It's really such a wonderful initiative, Rameshji, that has been taken here, where this beautiful interaction happens between various artists and the young students. I think these kind of opportunities really develops the overall growth of the child, because they come to know, they discuss things which are basically beyond the curriculum in the books and the institutes. So it's really a welcome step that SpeakMackey has taken. My congratulations to all of you. See, as my name suggests, and which was read in the biodata of my profile also, the Sopori. So this comes from the place where we basically belong to, Sopor in Kashmir. Our family has had a huge contribution when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir especially. The lineage goes back to almost like 300-year plus, and with almost like 10 generations. One after another master musician has been there in the family, and the music which was primarily practiced by the family was part of the Shaivite culture, what we call as the Shaivya Gayan. We can put it as devotional music. It's music which is attributed to the Almighty. And Shaivism, basically, like we know about Sufism. So Sufism is basically, a branch where you try to have a connect with the Almighty in such a way that your entire thoughts are there, and you don't get into unwanted diversions of whether those are rituals or any other such aspect. You just focus on something, and that energy, the ultimate energy, you have your mind, your focus there. Now Shaivism goes back even hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years before Sufism came in. But the thought is the same. And that's why in Kashmir, when Sufi influence came, it was easily adapted and accepted, because the Shaiva thought and the Sufi thought primarily talk about the same thing. It's your connect with the Almighty. Now in Sufism, in Shaivism, Lord Shiva is considered as the ultimate energy. So Lord Shiva actually goes far beyond than the image of Lord Shiva that we have, with the Trishul in one hand, the Damru in one hand. And Lord Shiva, we can say he becomes the sound, he becomes the energy. And that's what Shaivism talks about. In Shaivism, we find references of an instrument played for centuries and centuries and centuries, though the written document is somewhere around 4th, 5th century, which talks about santur. So Shaivism talks about this instrument as Shatatantri Veena. The Veena with 100 strings. So it's a Sanskrit terminology which says Shatatantri. Shat is 100, Tantra is instrument, and Veena attributes to the instrument with the 100 strings. And in our family, this is really interesting that our family name was actually Pandit. So, like my grandfather's grandfather, Pandit Samsar, Pandit Shankar Pandit, his son, Pandit Samsar Chand Sopori ji, his son, my grandfather, Pandit Shambhunath Sopori. Now, from Pandit, this journey came, the name shifted to Sopori. And I'll tell you how this happened. Now, first, I'll talk about the generations who were there before Pandit Shankar Pandit ji. So they were all into Shaivi music, as I said. They were into Sufi music, and they would sing, they would play santoor, they would play the Kashmiri version of sitar, or what is known as setar. It is slightly smaller in size, but the sound is more like a Saraswati Veena rather than sitar. It sounds like Saraswati Veena. And they would practice that. They would also play an instrument which is actually an extinct instrument now, and I'm trying to revive it. It's called Vasool. And Vasool was the parallel of Pakhavaj in Kashmir. So Kashmir, that way, the classical music of Kashmir, what is known as the Sufiana music of Kashmir, so that was practiced by the musicians who were a part of that tradition. But when it came to the Sopori family, they were all into spirituality. And even, it's said that they had so much power that if somebody would come to them that he has some pain or something, and they would just simply touch that person or do something like, something like this, it said that, they would be free of the ailment. Some pain in the body or body ache or anything. So they would create that. And they were all Shakti Upasaks, basically. So the spirituality and music has been a common factor in this family. But the only thing was that they wouldn't play for general public. They would either play for the musicians, fellow musicians, or they would play for the saints. And they would also practice music therapy. So if some patient would come and he wanted to hear some kind of music, so there were no public programs that time, in 1700s and 1800s. So what they would do, they would tell those patients, okay, I'll be performing at a particular, place where for a particular saint. So come to that particular place. So that is how they would practice. But so 5-6 generations back, a change started happening in the Sopori family. Until then, it was, as I said, the surname was Pandit. Though many of the musicians in the family, because of their spiritual elevation and because of their high musical skills, they would be called as Jew. Like one of my ancestors, his name is Pandit Sahasraju. Now, Jew is like a respect. It's not a surname. It's like a respect which is given to some of them.
That screenshot also.
You are saying something, Anandji? Okay. So, my grandfather's grandfather, Pandit Shankar Pandit ji, he introduced Indian classical music in the family. And that's when Indian classical music came back in Kashmir. It must have been there hundreds and hundreds of years back, but because there were always disturbances in that particular region, and something would have gone somewhere that classical music didn't survive there. So Pandit Shankar Pandit ji brought it back to Jammu and Kashmir, but it remained in the Sopori family. And then his son, Pandit Samsarchand Sopori ji, he did lots of new compositions, lots of bandishes were written, lots of taranas were written, and his command over the rhythm was such that people gave him a title of Tal Baz. So Baz is the bird, which has very fine eyes and it can see its prey from such huge height. And that was the title given to him, Talbaz, the person who had that kind of a vision in rhythm. And with all the introductions that he did, and that time the family used to live in Sopor. And then came my grandfather, Pandit Shambhunath Soporiji. And he started teaching people Indian classical music. And before that, at the time of Pandit Shankar Panditji, he started going to various places and he would perform. So people were curious, somebody coming from Kashmir and playing Indian classical music, playing Shaivite music, playing Sufi music. So they said, "Oh, you are from where?" So he would say, I'm from Sopor. And gradually the thing happened. Okay, Pandit Shankar Panditji, Pandit Shankar Panditji, oh, Pandit Shankar Sopori ji. And when his son was born and he became a musician, Pandit Samsarchand Sopori ji, his name became Pandit Samsarchand Sopori and not Pandit, because everybody started calling him Sopori. And then he would also perform. And during that time, one of the persons from the kingdom, his daughter was not well, and my great-great-grandfather treated her, of course, through music therapy. And out of the love and respect for him, the landlord of that, the king, he gave a huge land to him, my great-great-grandfather, which was spread in kilometers. So he said, well, I have nothing to do with property. I have my own place and I really don't want this. So everybody said, don't do this, it's coming from the king in a way. And you are sort of insulting him by not accepting his gift. So, out of so much of pressure, he took some portion of the land, not the entire thing, because he said it's of no use to me. I'm a musician, I'm into my meditations and all. What do I have to do with land and all? But even after, not accepting maybe some 70-80% of the land and just accepting about 20-25%, it was still covering some kilometers. So he came back, and by the time the news had all spread in the entire area that Panditji has been presented with such huge land, he came in and his wife said, "You got sold at this age?" So he said, "Well, I didn't take this. They have pressurized me." So he said, his wife said that, it's not part of the tradition. So basically in Kashmiri and in Hindi, if we interpret it, so she said, "Ki is umar mein aake big gaye. You got sold at this age." So he was very upset. He went back and he said, "Well, I had told you. See, everybody in my family is very unhappy, and I cannot take this land." Again, they pressurized him so much, and finally he took maybe 1% of the actual land which was being given to him, which was spread over some acres and acres. But he didn't build buildings there. He built a cottage where saints would come and do their meditations. He built a small stage in front of that cottage where musicians would come across the area and they would come and perform. So a system of public performances started happening in Kashmir, which was not part of the culture till then. Rest of the Sufiana musicians were all angry with the Sopori family that why are they making this tradition open to public? Because they thought that it should have been confined to only few because of various reasons. They had their own good reasons. But he didn't believe, my great-great-grandfather didn't believe in this. And he would travel. That time, this particular area was, he would travel from the backside of Kashmir. In present, the areas, the borders that we have, if we have to define that. So it was basically, he would go from Kashmir region to the part which has been occupied by the Pakistan. So Pakistan occupied Kashmir area and back to the present area, which is Lahore and all. So this was culturally very rich, and this would then connect back to the Punjab area, our Punjab area. Because that time, coming from Jammu side to Punjab was really difficult because there were no roads. They had to climb, some vehicle would have been there. Maybe, you couldn't have been crossed all this area on horses. So it was really difficult. So this was the area of operating towards Punjab. And gradually then, when my great-grandfather, he came, Pandit Samsar Chand Sopori ji, and as I said, he composed new compositions and many musicians started coming to Kashmir. And when my grandfather started his work, he decided to teach instead of only performing. And unfortunately, the 1947 partition happened, and in 1947, basically Pakistan became a separate country, and India became a separate country. Kashmir was a separate state, and in October, Pakistan attacked Kashmir. And then Indian forces came in because the king requested, Indian government to help. And Indian forces came and they actually saved part of the Kashmir. But that's when, they took some of the portion of Kashmir. The Pakistanis took. So it's called Kabali raid. So there were tribals in front and the forces at the back. Now, that time in October, they attacked Sopor and everybody had to leave. So it was a kind of an exodus which happened in Kashmir in 1947, October. And even our family had to leave. But these, the Kabalis who raided and the forces behind them, they destroyed a lot of stuff and properties, areas in Sopor. And certainly one of their targets was anything to do with art and culture. So they destroyed our house. It was burned, the musical instruments, all our documents, age-old documents, instruments, except a santoor and one sitar and two manuscripts, nothing was left. Because that was all that could have been taken in our Tanga. Tanga used to be the Goda Gadi, whatever it's called. I'm forgetting the name. So they traveled from Sopor to Srinagar. But when my grandfather came to Srinagar, he saw a very different culture in Srinagar compared to what it was in Sopor. Sopor was very rich because the family was doing so much of work there. But in Srinagar, there were two major issues. Number one, music was, as in the entire country, in the era of 40s and 50s, music and dance was not considered a very respectable profession. And especially, families would avoid their girls to go into music and dance. It was same for the films also. And the second was issues connected to the religion. So they said this is all anti-Islam, which is actually not. So my grandfather, Pandit Shambhunath Sopori ji, he took up this task to take music to the masses. And he started teaching people in Srinagar. He was already doing that in Sopor as well. And within a couple of years after shifting to Srinagar, the first major school of music was opened in Srinagar called Sangeet Mahavidyalaya. It was in the premises of Arya Samaj Center in Srinagar. And Indian classical music was being taught there, vocal, instrumental, primarily sitar, vocal, followed by tabla, of course, santoor. And my grandfather started inviting musicians from across the country, from deep south, from Punjab area, from Delhi, from Maharashtra, and various regions to Srinagar to perform in the institute. The institute got affiliation of Prayag Sangeet Samiti, which was the main institute for having a degree in music. And so you can see in 1950s, Kashmir became a center where employment opportunities started getting created because through music. And my grandfather, look at the vision that he had, because he knew a lot had to be done, and he didn't have so much of time, that he would plan the things for next 50 years or 60 years. He had to make the things happen in a decade or two. So he started music as a subject in a couple of girls' schools. When these girls became slightly, they went into their college and all. So he introduced, because everybody respected my grandfather, and they would come to Sangeet Sangeet Mahavidyalaya in the functions and various programs that were held there. So the authorities would come, the administration would come, the royal family people would come. The Maharani was my grandfather's disciple. And everybody would tell, Panditji, what can we do for you? And he would say, okay, introduce music in this school, introduce music in this college. Somebody has done the degree, please, get him a job. And the music got introduced in the college. As I said, look at the vision of my grandfather. That time he didn't stress on introducing music in boys' college, but girls' college. What happened? The girls became big, they got married, they had children, and the next generation was all inclined into music. So a new generation came in Kashmir, which was totally off the concept of that music is a taboo. Music field is a taboo. Music is against any particular religion. And the girls took up music as a profession. And there were employments all in the colleges. They became professors, and finally they started teaching. So directly, indirectly, people were all connected to the Sopori family. And my grandfather's patent dialogue was sur lagao, sing a note. He would go in Kashmir, ladies would go to buy groceries and all. So men would go there. So my grandfather would go and he would tell the shopkeeper, okay, beta, sur lagao. So initially, the shopkeeper, the grocery person, he would say, they would call him Master Ji, with love. Oh, Master Ji, I don't have so much of time. I have to sell I have to do my business. So how can I get into singing and all? So you would say, okay, just say sa. And, they would say, okay, sa, that's all, nothing more. Gradually, he taught them a line. If he taught them a bandish, so it was the sthai. If he taught them a bhajan, it was the mukhra. And the same person after some time came and said, Panditji, you have only taught me the initial part. What about the next? So a new generation of listeners came in Kashmir. So we had performers being created. We had listeners being created in Kashmir. A beautiful era that started in Kashmir. Suppose if I would call my grandfather, so the first question, how are you? I would say, I'm fine, Dadaji. How was your concert? Suppose I've come from the concert. Straight away, there was no second question. I would say, okay, it went well. What did you play? So I played rag, say for example, Marwa. Okay. Did you sing the bandish? I would say, yes, I sang this bandish. Did you sing a tarana? I would say, yes, I sang this tarana. Okay, now speak to your dadi. He didn't have anything else to speak except music. That was his life. And then came my father, Pandit Bhajan Sopori ji. He did his academics wise, because if people think that music disturbs them, no, it doesn't. Many of some of the best musicians have been really well qualified, academically. So my father, he did his master's in English literature, which was his main subject, and apart from that, he had a double master's in Indian classical music, in sitar and santoor, both. And then he went abroad. He did his graduate study in Western music compositions. And he also had he did his additional graduate study in philosophy and psychology. And it actually reflected in his music. When he was teaching me, he once told me, he said, treat raga like a philosophy. Try to analyze what each note says. Try to analyze the combination of the melody which is there in the raga. Go deeper into it, it will give you some answers. Go further deeper, it will open further doors for you. So treat it like it's like a philosophy. So this actually, his education, his academics, the amount of knowledge that he had reflected in his playing also. So after doing his studies and all, he came back to India, and he joined All India Radio in 1974 in Kashmir as the youngest producer of the country, producer of music. And a new era of music started in Kashmir, which is called as the Renaissance of music. Now here, my grandfather, who is known as the father of music in Jammu and Kashmir because of the work that he did. Now all these people whom he taught, they became my father's soldiers, kind of. So the girls who had learned from my grandfather, they started performing for All India Radio. And my father had these beautiful musicians who had learned from my grandfather, and of course from my father also. So classical from my grandfather, and classical and light music from my father. And a new, what you can call as lot of a new, we got new singers in Kashmir. And this renaissance of music, what I said is described by particular eras, 1974 to 1990. The musicians started getting recognized for the style of singing. Like at national level, we can say that a particular style matched what Lataji sang. So, I mean, those who are younger, of course, they won't have analyzed so much, but all the elders who have listened to Lataji and Ashaji, Rafi Saab, Kishore Kumar Saab, Manna De Saab, for, all through their life, they know that a particular song would be given to Ashaji. Some songs would be given because it suited their style. Some songs would be specially given to Kishore Kumar Saab. Rafi Saab has had his own style. Just imagine Rafi Saab doing Udle Udle Udle. Nobody can even imagine him doing that. It was only meant for Kishore Kumar Saab. Same happened in Kashmir. Papa gave styles to these singers. So some of the legends of Kashmiri music, like Shamim Azad ji, she had her own style of singing. Kailash Mehra ji, she had her own style. So Shamim ji would sing something like Lataji and Kailash would sing more like Ashaji. Then we had Vijay Mallaji. He had his own style and he had a lot of tayyari in his gala. And the musicians who were there even before Papa, who were singing, before Papa joined All India Radio, they also got their own styles established. So Papa said, no, you have to sing it this way. Then, since Papa had done his Western music, so he introduced the concept of orchestration in Kashmir. There were hardly any musicians. Now, before 74, the musician would sing, and the rabab, sarangi, tumbak, matka, the folk instruments of Kashmir, they would play along. Now suddenly after 1974, a rabab player started playing a solo piece. So rabab guy got a different identification. The sarangi got a different identification. They got identification as solo instruments. They were in compositions which were based on just the rhythm and little bit of rabab. And then this orchestration started coming in. So Papa, anybody who had any instruments with them, Papa said, come. He started teaching them. He got them auditioned through All India Radio. Again, employment opportunities started happening. See, because this is something which Sopori family has always focused on, that if you do something, it should have employment opportunities also. That's why the next generation would be inclined. Otherwise, they'll say, what do we get into? What do we get by doing this? And major choirs started happening, and which was never a concept in Kashmir. Hundreds and hundreds and thousands of voices coming together and singing. So a very different musical era, cultural era happened in the 70s, 80s, till 1990, when again disturbance happened in Kashmir. Unfortunately, we had to leave, and my grandfather's house, which was, like a temple, it was occupied by some person, and he destroyed everything. So whatever was left in 1947 got destroyed in 1990. So you can imagine that I don't have even one picture of my father from his childhood, when he was 4, 5, and earlier, because Papa gave his first performance at the age of 5. I don't know in which lifetime did he learn, and in this lifetime, within 5 years, how much did he learn to give a public performance? And at the age of 6 in 1954, the first radio broadcast of classical santoor happened. So in the history of All India Radio, first broadcast happened where it was announced that today you will be listening to this particular raga on classical santoor by Young, and they named Papa. It was, of course, a children's program that would happen through All India Radio. And, from that time, then when he was around 10 or 11, he went to Allahabad, which is now called as Prayagraj. And he gave his first performance, which was outside Kashmir, in Prayag Sangeet Samiti. And that was for the first time people actually there saw classical music being played on an instrument which they had never seen. They had never seen santoor before. So the development of santoor started happening after his performance when he performed at Prayag Sangeet Samiti, Allahabad. Now, two aspects of my father. One, which was the compositional side, through All India Radio, and then this was the classical santoor side. Now I'll come on to the santoor side. So the development of santoor happened in such a way that santoor is primarily, you can call as a static instrument. So as part of the Sufiana culture, the Sufiana Mosiki, what we call as. So if the singer is singing, Da 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 ra, tam dum bum. Da 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 da. So he's just accompanying his singing through the santoor, followed by the Kashmiri sitar. There's a bowing instrument called Saze Kashmir. These are classical instruments. You should always remember this. Kashmiri santoor, Kashmiri Saze Kashmir, Kashmiri setar. These are classical instruments, and rabab, sarangi, tumbak, matka, and likewise, they are all folk instruments. There's a difference between folk instruments and classical instruments. Now, many people would say that santoor is, I'm sorry, santoor is not an Indian instrument. It came to Kashmir from Iran. So they talked about the Persian influence, which happened somewhere around 14th century. But as I said, the roots are Shaivism. Even the Nilmat Purana in the, when we get the references from the 4th, 5th century, it talks about Shatatantri Veena. So there was no way of getting an instrument in the 13th or the 14th century when we already had it even before BC. So it's basically because they want to attribute things to Kashmir, that everything has come from different parts of the world, and it's been either the influence of a particular ruler or a particular religion. But Kashmiri santoor had nothing to do with the Iranian santoor, never. Now I'll give you an example when I say that it's connected to Shaivism. Whenever after this session you get free, go onto the Google, and if you have seen it, wonderful. Otherwise, type Shri Yantra, Shreeyantra, two different words. In fact, I can see a part of the Shri Yantra before Avya Bansal. Okay, I think that's the logo of the Shalom Hills International School. So this star which is there is actually, I'm not sure of, and even Avni Bansal, I can see this logo behind you. So we have an upward triangle, we have a downward triangle. In between, you will find the shape of the santoor. If you take out the top triangle, you will see this trapezium, which is the santoor. If one of you, maybe Avni, if you can just move your head a bit, a little more. Yeah. See, everybody can see there is an upward triangle and there's a downward triangle. And in between this line, then comes like this, and then comes like this. That's the shape of the santoor. Come back, Avni. Thank you, dear. So this upward triangle and the downward triangle is basically the representation of the Shiva and the Shakti.
Panditji, this is Ramesh Vishwanathan here. We are kind of getting close to playing the video, so we need to
wind it up.
Sure. Not exactly wind it up, but children are eager to ask the question, and they're very keen on seeing the video, which I put it up
sure,
for.
Certainly, I'll just conclude in 2 minutes.
I apologize.
No, not at all. Please, thanks for letting me know the time also. Yeah. So when you see the shape, so you see the shape of the santoor. So that's the connect of the santoor. And gradually what you will see in the video, so I'll actually give you a description. So this santoor is what we call as the santoor of Sopori Baj, which was the style created by my father, which I also play. So there are technicalities which are part of the Tantra Ang, which is the instrumental style, the Gaiki Ang, which is the vocal style, and the incorporation of both on the santoor is Sopori Baj. So you will see lots of glides. We will hold the kalam and sustain it. You'll see in the video. Then there's a pressure technique, what is called as mean. The lay patterns, the chand patterns. So santoor came to a very different level through the hands of Pandit Bhajan Sopori ji. And the santoor, now what we hear as part of the Sopori Baj, it's at par with the vocal system. So if I sing anything, it can be played on the santoor. That's the beauty of the inventions and the creations that Papa did on the santoor. and it's being carried forward, be it me or any of Papa's disciples or my students, and we are trying to take that forward. So now let's go on to the question answer sessions, please.
Thank you, Abhijit. This was so wonderful. It was almost a journey, beautifully untold. Now I think children, you need to ask the 6 questions very quickly, and then I'm going to be playing the video. Okay, because it's now outstanding video.
Yes, sir. Respected Pandit Abhay Sapuri ji, I'm very sorry that I can't switch on my video right now because of technical issues.
That's okay, David.
Already you've elaborated much about the history and different phases that the family had gone through. Could you please throw light? What made Pandit Bhajan Sapuri ji take up Santoor?
See, the thing is, since he belonged to a family of musicians and he represented, at least the records that we have and the names that we know, I'm sure it must have been more than 10 centuries, but we still say that it's 300 years. But with the kind of work that has been done in the family, it must have been much, much, much more than that. So when you're part of a legacy, you get to learn a lot, even if you have not been into that formal learning system. So it's like, somebody as a child of a doctor, even if he doesn't go in for medicine, maybe the child would be in the 4th or the 5th standard, he would already know 10 different medicines that can be given for 10 different problems. So similarly, when you are into music, even if you don't have your formal education, you still know a lot because you are born in that system. You have grown up in that system. And especially if I talk about my father, if he performed at the age of 5, he was barely few months old when his grandfather would take him during the night and make him lie down in front of him and do his riyas. So see the impact of sound which was happening on him, the impact, maybe, see, the God had made him for a purpose for which he came onto this planet, for taking Santoor to the level that it is there now. So the circumstances, good, wonderful circumstances, that is, you are born in a family of musicians, you are inclined towards music, people love you, they want you to be a musician, the expectations of the people, and as I even say for my own self, which is your own interest. And that is what I always focus, and I tell young children that opt for a profession where your interest lies. If your hobby turns into your profession, you can contribute million times more to the society, to the country, and to this entire world.
I think we have time for 2 more questions because I have to play the video. So children, I think 2 questions more, very quickly.
Yes, sir. Namaste, everyone. Respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, and fellow enthusiasts of the earth. My name is Hitosh Tripathi from Sri Dadiji Mandir Trust Prabhavati Public School, and I am honored to be here today as a student passionate about the rich cultural heritage and artistic traditions that Speak Make celebrates. I am privileged that I am with an opportunity to interact with you, sir. My question is that, was there any memorable event in Panditji's life? May I know your view, sir?
Well, there were many, but I think one of the events, one of the functions where he performed, and somebody, basically he had not performed, he heard about it. That one of the vocalists, very legendary vocalists of the country, had said for the instrument santoor, that he had heard somebody playing the santoor, that this seems to be an instrument on which if a rat also runs, a raga would be created. Now, because it's you have the strings and all the strings are lined up, you have to tune. So even if you just touch it with your fingers, the sound would be created. And my father took up this task, developed the santoor in such a way. And one day, in one of the programs, he said that, well, somebody had said that, he had said this thing about the santoor, but santoor is much beyond that. It's at par with vocal system. And then when he played with all the technicalities and all the nuances which he had created, all the aspects which he had established on the santoor. So I think that was one of the, apart from hundreds of more, but that was one of the memorable performances where he showed to the world that santoor is a complete solo, a complete classical, Indian classical solo instrument.
So Panditji, I think thank you for all the efforts. Children, I think we are running out of time now. I have to play the video because we have another back-to-back program with Speak McKay. So just give me a minute. I'm going to be playing this wonderful video of Panditji with Ajay Sopori ji.
Then followed by the combination of conses. For example, we have Chandra cons, Jog cons, Nanda cons, Bhim cons, Krishna cons, Hari cons, and Madhu cons, Gun cons, and this is an addition, Nirmal cons is an addition to this cons. Thank you. And it was an honor and a privilege that with the blessings of Sri Mataji, she heard this raga and we were communicated that she has liked this raga. We are thankful to Her Holiness, and because it's a tribute to her. I will tell Abhay to read the text and explain you about the text, and then we give you the structure of how this course operates.
Namaskar and Jai Shri Mataji. Well, since it's a new raga, I really don't even remember the composition, yet to remember it properly. This is raga, as my father just said, raga Nirmal cons. The bandish, the vocal composition is Jai Jai Nirmal Janani. Jai Jai Nirmal Janani, Ma Sadev Dhyan Magan, Sahastrar Basat Chinme, Karat Par Naad Mandal, Tum ho Sahib Man mein, Utar Harat Peer Dukh ho Paap Vinashini. It says Jai Jai Nirmal Janani, which is in honor of Sri Mataji, her name, and Nirmal Janani.
Nirmal Janani means the mother. Her name is Srimati Nirmalaji, so Nirmal Janani, Nirmal Mother. Jai Jai, hail to thee.
Ma Sadev Dhyan Magan.
Mother, you're always into the meditation, your meditation yourself.
Sahastrar Basat Chinme.
Sahastrar Basat, you live in Sahastrat. Basat Chinme, Karatapar Naad Mandala. You live in Sahastrat and you can cross the Naad, the sound of ocean, within seconds, within a fraction of a second. However, the Sahitya, the literature about Naad Sagar is that till now no one has crossed Naad Sagar. Now the ocean has, nobody has crossed that. Even Saraswati Ajahu Darata Karata Tumbaki Adaravar. That even Saraswati, goddess Saraswati is scared of crossing the ocean. She is not able to cross it. But it's only with the help of Veena that she crosses this ocean of sound. But here we say, Shaname Karatapara Nad Mandala. Not even the Nad Saga, but the Nad Mandal, the entire cosmos of the sound. You just cross it within a fraction of a second.
तुम हो साहिब मन में उतर
Tu ho sahib, you are the master. Man mein utar,
उतर हरत पीर दुख
man mein utara. Once you are into my heart, harat peer, every kind of problems are solved.
negativities हो पाप विनाश
Oh, Baba Vinashini. You can, eradicate the entire sins and whatever we are facing the problems. Jai Jai Nirmal Janani, Jai Jai Nirmal Janani. Then there's the second part of the composition,
which is the antra. तुम विदेश तुम सन अटक्यो मन मेरे हर पल
तुम विदेश तुम सन अटक्यो मन मेरो हर पल. तुम विदेश तुम सन अटक्यो. My entire existence lives with you. And it's because of you that my existence is there. Man sang atkyo man mero.
इतनी अरज करत माँ
I have a request, Mother.
दरस दीजे दास
Darasa DJ Dasanako, that I should see you every time within me. This is my request.
मिलत परमा
Mildata Parama Anand. And it's only because of that darshan, Milata Parama Anand, I can get the Param Anand. Jai Jai Nirmala Janani. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And the musical structure of the raga is once we sing this composition, we would also like you to sing at least the first part of the composition. Jai Jai Nirmala Janani, okay?
जय 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 निर्मल जननी, जय जय निर्मल जननी, जय जय निर्मल जननी। माँ सदैव ध्यान मगन, माँ सदैव ध्यान मगन। सहस्त्रार बसत छिन में तुम हो, सहस्त्रार बसत छिन में करत पार नाद मंडल। तुम हो साहिब मन में, तुम हो साहिब मन में। उतर हरत पीर दुख, ओ पाप विनाशनी। जय जय निर्मल जननी, जय जय निर्मल जननी, जय जय निर्मल जननी, जय जय निर्मल जननी। माँ सदैव ध्यान मगन, माँ सदैव ध्यान मगन। सहस्त्रार बसत छिन में करत पार नाग मंडल। तुम हो साहिब मन में, भूतर हरत पीर दुख, हो पाप विनाशनी। जय जय निर्मल जननी, जय जय निर्मल जननी।
Республика Индия представляет музыкальное произведение «Хафтранг» в переводе «Семь цветов» в исполнении Созо Саас, кашмирского ансамбля народной музыки. Композитор и дирижер Шри Абхай Рустум Сопори. Шри Абхай Рустум Сопори – выдающийся музыкант нового поколения. Он разработал новый 30-струнный инструмент на основе классического сантура и назвал его сур-сантур. Его произведение «Хафтранг» было исполнено немецким баварским государственным оркестром и ансамблем Кашмира Абхая. Дирижировал легендарный маэстро Зубин Мета. Уникальная кашмирская музыка получила международное признание.
कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारी, सदियों रहा है दुश्मन दौरे ज़मां हमारा।